Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dennis Jones. I'm the Director of the Emergency Management Agency for Chatham County. I want to express our desire and also our appreciation for Governor Kemp and First Lady Marty Kemp coming to Chatham County. On behalf of the chairman and also the county manager, please accept our appreciation for your visit here. We recognize that your time is valuable, and coming to Chatham County to recognize the emergency management support as well as the support of the public safety community is something that we value as far as your presence goes. So again, I want to reiterate the thanks of the state in general, not just the governor's office, but also the Georgia Emergency Management Agency, Georgia Department of Transportation, Georgia Department of Public Safety, all of the state agencies who have been actively involved, not only with us in monitoring this particular storm that's coming our way, Hurricane Milton, but we've also been through Hurricanes Debbie as well as Hurricane Helene, all within the last 60 to 70 days. So this is our third storm in Chatham County that we're reacting to. And again, I recognize the importance for the state to be supporting Chatham County, as well as the governor to make a presence here in Chatham County, showing his support not only for emergency management principles, but also for our public safety and our community as a whole. So our latest information for Chatham County, we are looking at some impacts from Hurricane Milton. Even though it is a South Florida landfalling hurricane, it is expecting to expand the wind field. So with that wind field expansion comes tropical storm force conditions that could impact Chatham County beginning sometime tonight and continuing throughout the day Thursday. So we've got our Emergency Operations Center activated. We just took a tour of that EOC. It activated this morning at 7 a.m. and it will ramp up again at 4 a.m. tomorrow to ride out the storm, see what storm conditions exist throughout the county, as well as looking at what our neighbors are also experiencing. If in the event that we can help them, we certainly would. So again, I appreciate the governor being here today, and I'd turn it over to him for comments.
Well, thank you, Dennis. I appreciate what you and the team are doing. It's great to be here with Chairman Ellis, obviously the First Lady, the manager, really the rest of the EOC team. Just a great group of people, and they're doing what we do in Georgia before a storm, and that's be prepared and to be prepared early. So it was great to see just the hardworking men and women that were in there, the great facility they're in. I know the chairman was telling me that you're building a new facility, which is very exciting, but it really makes a difference for us to be organized, to be thinking ahead of a storm, and to be working together from a state, local, and obviously with our federal partners as well. Just wanted to give a quick update on Hurricane Helene, and then I'll get to Milton. As you know, we had 11 counties originally declared by the feds that were declared, which was frustrating to some people out there, but after conversations with the FEMA administrator and the White House, they quickly moved to add more counties. We're up to 47 now, and we continue working through that, so we're appreciative of that. Chatham and most of the surrounding counties received both the individual assistance and public assistance. Bryan County currently is just receiving individual assistance, but we're continuing to push for more counties, and we feel good about where we're headed in regards to FEMA adding additional counties. We also urge the administration to cover 100% of cleanup costs, which they have agreed to do, so we're very appreciative of that. And under my direction, GEMA will continue to coordinate with FEMA to bring the U.S. Army Corps engineers in for debris removal in counties that are eligible for public assistance to help them. A lot of people have existing contracts. Those people will continue doing their work, but this will just be a good scenario for a lot of our struggling counties out there. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the 34 individuals that we lost in this horrific storm, and more than 200 now across many other states, but 34 in Georgia. Just tragic loss of life, really some tragic stories about that loss of life that I talked about a lot when Marty and I were touring many of these counties last week, talking to the first responders that had to respond to those, and our thoughts and prayers certainly go out to them too. And we just continue to ask everybody to be mindful of the mental health of everybody that's responding to this storm, everybody that's going through this storm, and certainly that is on our minds. Statewide right now, we still have about 50,000 people without power. Our teams and the EMCs and Georgia Power's teams continue to work on that 24/7. It's important for Georgians to know that this was a devastating storm in a lot of different ways, much more than we've ever seen in our state. Previously, Georgia Power, in their worst storm ever, had to replace 1,700 poles. In this storm, they had to replace over 8,000. The EMCs are basically in the same boat. We've had some power networks that literally have been completely rebuilt from the ground up, which is why it's taken so long, especially in some of our rural areas. But we continue to work on that. Things that we've done ahead of and during and after Hurricane Helene, we did the state of emergency ahead of the storm. We worked with Speaker Burns, Lieutenant Governor Jones, the rest of the members of the General Assembly to announce the gas tax suspension. We got word from a lot of people they're having to buy a lot of gas and diesel fuel running generators, but also running equipment to respond to the storm. And this is just a way of helping our people financially during this tough time in our state. So that's still in place and will be for as long as the state of emergency is in place. We also allowed the use of dyed diesel fuel. So for people that have off-road diesel fuel supplies, if on-road diesel fuel runs in short supply, you can use your dyed diesel fuel for over-the-road vehicles. We also at peak had 2,000 of our citizen soldiers, our Georgia National Guard, our friends and our neighbors that live in this state that serve in the Georgia National Guard responded to this storm. Marty and I got to see firsthand just incredible things that they were doing, everything from debris removal, delivering meals and water by helicopter and other vehicles, rescues and the like. So we're very thankful to General Wilson and his team and all that they have been doing. We're currently back down to about 1,000 guards still serving. We had a great visit, as you know, last week, really going from Valdosta to the Augusta area, the CSRA as they call it, and got to see the devastation firsthand, people's homes, people's businesses, people's farms, people's forests, hearing the stories of tragic loss of life, hearing heroic stories of people saving lives, and it just showed you how hard hit this state got, and a lot of other states, quite honestly, with Hurricane Helene. But we're going to continue to work with everybody to make sure that we recover from this and that we stay strong and resilient, which Georgians are. In that regard, though, we have to be prepared for Hurricane Milton. Thankfully, this storm for us continues to move a little bit south, which in regards to a bad hit that Florida is going to take, it moving south is also a little bit helpful to them, even though it's a consolation. It's still going to be a very hard hit, but they're very well prepared. They've noticed well. We're dealing with a lot of the evacuees coming through our state or sheltering here when we're glad to have them, and we'll do everything we can to support the state of Florida. But I did issue a state of emergency yesterday for counties that potentially could be in the path of Hurricane Milton, especially our coastal counties that may see a slight storm surge and potential for tropical storm type winds. So we just want everybody to be weather aware of that. With what we went through with Helene, with trees leaning, those kind of winds can continue to take other trees down. So just be mindful of that. Be mindful of the potential for loss of power and other things. We don't think this is going to be a hard hit, but we also don't want to, we want to over prepare and hope this storm for us at least under delivers. So we'll continue to work with the local team here and local teams up and down the coast as we watch the storm move through tomorrow. We're also continuing to work with Department of Public Safety, local law enforcement, all of our emergency service folks in the Department of Transportation to monitor our roadways. Obviously, we've been very busy with that over the last 24 hours. We had incredible uppage of usage on our interstate, especially I-75 north and, of course, I-95 as people continue to move through our state, evacuees from Florida. We're telling them now that you can find refuge in areas like Albany, Columbus, Macon, and Atlanta north. Basically, if you're on the I-75 track headed to Atlanta, there's not many hotel rooms. You may find a cabin or two at a state park, but the space is very limited. So we're encouraging people to go east, west, or continue further north. Currently, right now, just like Dennis and the team has here in Chatham County, our state operations center is at level 1, which is full activation. So we've got all of our partners still in the SOC monitoring this, and we'll continue to do that. One other thing that we're doing is monitoring fuel supplies. Obviously, there was a run on fuel in Florida as people were evacuating. A lot of those people are getting to our state and having to refuel. So we're just monitoring with all our partners in the fuel business with Colonial and API and the pipeline folks to make sure that we can get fuel moved to where it needs to go anywhere in the state of Georgia, or help get supplies to the state of Florida. And we'll do police escorts if we need to do that. So just know that we're on top of that. The last thing I would mention before taking your questions, like was mentioned earlier by Dennis, this is the third storm we've had to deal with in a very short period of time. We have a lot of our first responders, a lot of our utility workers, and other people that are trying to get power back on, clear roadways and other things, literally have been working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is people that have worked through Debbie, they worked through Helene, and now we're fixing to deal with Milton, hopefully not in a big way. But a lot of those folks are tired, and so I would just ask everyone to keep the victims of Helene, the loss of life, and those families in your thoughts and prayers, but also say a little prayer for all these first responders and utility folks that are out there. And also, if you see them, just pat them on the back and say thank you, because they've been working awfully hard. Try to be patient if they're slow on your roadways or blocking a driveway or something like that. They're working really hard. We're very grateful for that. And just want to thank you guys for being here. Be safe, and we'll be glad to take any questions you may have.
Governor Kemp, I know that the National Guard was something that you mentioned in terms of 2,000 at their peak being used here in Georgia. Is there any plan for them to be put in place if there's any devastation in Florida as well?
Yeah, so I talked to Governor DeSantis a couple of days ago. We sent he requested, or their Florida EMA requested an EMAC team that we sent down there. We also sent a Black Hawk helicopter and a crew up to North Carolina to help them. I told him, I think they're in pretty good shape right now. I mean, they have a big National Guard. I think he's called up 6,000. He's got 3,000 others that are coming from other states. And I told him, we're starting to pull resources down. If we don't have issues, we're glad to send people. And I know he'll ask if he needs them, and we'll go if we're not needed here. Now, if we're needed here, we'll stay here, take care of our folks first. But with the amount of power we have coming back on, people's water coming back on, grocery stores opening back up, we've been able to pull back some of our Guard resources so we can redeploy them if needed to Florida. We just have to wait and see what, if anything, they would request of us.
And then we know that there's still 50,000 across the state that are without power. As Milton makes its way across Florida itself, what's the plan going down the line in terms of getting people in Georgia the lights back on there as impacts happen?
Yeah, so we're going, our crew's responding to people's power outages in Georgia. They're going to stay right here and stay after. I mean, most of that is with the EMCs right now in rural parts of our state. And they're working at it every single day. It is just, they have a lot of poles between services and a lot of devastation. So they're, just steadily going after it. But it is just a long slog, and I know it's aggravating for people. But I talked to Dennis Chastain with the EMCs Saturday. He assured me, they have the resources they need. They're throwing everything they got at it. So they'll continue to do that regardless of what Milton brings us.
You spoke a little bit about being able to go to the White House and ask for more counties to be put on that FEMA list. What are those conversations at the White House when it comes to how committed they are to help getting Georgians back to where they need to be?
Well, I think, the conversation I had with Administrator Criswell about that was just, I know they were trying to do something quick, to get some counties on, but I think in retrospect, it really sent the signal that if you weren't one of those 11 counties, that your county didn't get hit hard and, you know, they weren't paying attention to you. And that's what I told her. And then I couldn't get President Biden at the time because he was dealing with a lot of things that were going on in the Middle East. But, you know, I relayed that to his person, ended up talking to his chief of staff. And I just said, look, you're creating kind of a political problem here. People feel like that no one cares about them. And I said, you're going to hear about that when you come down here. But they immediately got on that. They understood that and added, I think it was 30 counties at the time. We're up to 47 now. And you know, we'll continue adding as it warrants. So they were very receptive to our lobbying, if you will.
I know you've been talking about evacuees coming up from Florida, and there was an open arm welcome to them. Have you had a number of how many people have actually escaped from Florida into Georgia? How many people are staying here who evacuated from Milton?
Yeah, I wouldn't have a number, but it's a lot. I mean, yesterday, I talked to somebody that was leaving Valdosta coming to Atlanta. It took them 6 hours. So heavy volume on 75. People telling me literally just about every car on I-75 north out of Florida license plate. So there's I think 1 million something people or more evacuating. And so, you know, people are scared to go south. They can't go straight across the state because that's where the storm's going. So they're all having to come north. And so they're hitting us one way or another unless they're going to lower Alabama or you know, come on up through here to go to South Carolina. So we have a lot. And we've seen that in the past, and we know how to deal with that. Our state parks and our hotel folks, we have great communication with them. And, you know, we're glad to help them in a time of need. All right, well, thank you guys for helping us get the word out. Everybody stay safe. God bless.